Duane Daniel Hodges was laid to rest in Pioneer Cemetery in his hometown of Creswell, Oregon. A small town that, over the half-century since his death, has grown more suburban while holding on to its farming, logging, and lumber roots. Born September 5, 1946, Hodges grew up in a modest family and was known as a diligent, unassuming young man with a strong sense of duty. After graduating from high school in 1964, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy in early 1965 amid the escalating Vietnam War. He completed basic training in San Diego and trained as a fireman, specializing in shipboard engineering and maintenance. By 1967, at age 20, he was assigned to the USS Pueblo, a converted cargo ship conducting intelligence missions off North Korea. On January 23, 1968, when North Korean forces attacked the vessel, Hodges left his engineering duties to help destroy classified materials. Struck by shrapnel while carrying documents on deck, he died at 21, the only fatality in the incident. The remaining 82 crew members were captured and held for 11 months. For his actions, Hodges was posthumously awarded the Silver Star and Purple Heart. The USS Pueblo remains in North Korea today as a war trophy. And now for the reveal. Target's ID D3C7-S6B8. Duane Daniel Hodges. January 23, 1968. After death. Remote viewer is to view Duane D. Hodges after his death and document the events that take place during his journey after his soul leaves his body.
Here is the data that came through. Sam saw early life contact with Duane, where he worked in a cabinet shop in an area known predominantly for lumber and wood products. Jeremy picks up on tree imagery and the smell of sawdust. Next, there was an interesting repeating pattern in a few sessions showing a similar pattern that consisted of an intersecting shape where points radiated outward. There were several similar patterns that emerged throughout multiple sessions for this target. Mary, Evan, and Leah all had aspects of clocks or timekeeping devices. Multiple viewers brought back data indicating the presence of a tower or a pillar. Evan describes a pillar. Dean has multiple images that he describes as tower-like. Jackson describes a golden tower at the end of a road. Mary has a golden clock that looks like a tower. Bastian draws a tower-like structure that is similar to Dean's. John Kelly draws multiple images of towers. And Jody says she feels like she is at a lighthouse, but did not see any images of a lighthouse. A shape in the sky shows up in Christine's session, and it looks similar to the shape that Bastian records. Jody has a round shape surrounded by stars, and Sandra says she felt like there was something in the sky and said it looked like a ship. There was also this repeating gestalt that was represented in 8 viewers' session. It is depicted in the form of 2 lobes, or masses, with a central oval shape or multiple straight lines. Some come through in pieces, while, remarkably, several are almost identical. Stars were represented in multiple sessions. Christine has a star below what appears to be an airplane. Leah has a star in a square formation. Jody has multiple stars that appear in her session. Sandra sees a bullet-type shape and says at first she thought it was a star. Evan sees a star-like structure moving away from a human-like form. Jeremy draws stars to bullet point data in his session. Creatures of various descriptions showed themselves in multiple viewers' sessions. Chris sees a dinosaur-like creature. Evan sees a snake head. Leah sees a butterfly, frogs, and what appears to be an earthworm. Christine sees a dog on a leash, possibly related to the guard dogs that would be present at the prison location where the rest of the Pueblo's crew was being held in North Korea. Jody sees a sea creature with a device attached to its upper fin. Sandra sees an animal with horns, a possible female form with blue protrusions radiating from her head, and an alien-like creature. There was a lot of data indicating objects in the sky. Christine sees multiple rockets, a square-shaped flying device, and a man parachuting. Sam sees some type of event with sparks. Jody sees what looks like an orb-shaped object and a drone over a mountain. Evan sees a plasma-type object with a gel-like texture, and Bastian sees a big ball of light. Flowers were also present in Mary's session, which we will see much more of later. She describes them as poppies, which would be very relevant to this target, as they are known as an enduring symbol for remembrance from World War I onwards. Jody has multiple flower-like images in her session, and Evan sees a structure with petals. Water is heavily represented in the sessions. Mary sees the bow of a ship and had an impression of a ship or boat like the Titanic. Sense of history, loss of some kind, with ships, seafarers lost at sea. Sandra detects water and nature. Christine sees a body of water. Bastian detects water in multiple locations and sees a strong man staring on water. Jody picks up waves and wet liquid. Chris picks up numerous points of water and whales, ship's horn, stormy seas, underwater sonar, wet and cold, tidal pools, and in the ocean with underwater bubbles. Numerous viewers detect the sea battle. Christine detects the MiG fighters that intercepted the Pueblo, machine gun fire, and explosions. Evan detects the jets. Leah detects the hail of gunfire, metal scraping sounds, repetitive. smells of old motor oil and sulfur. Jody detects the bullets. Dean picks up on the mission of the Pueblo, a spy ship. He detects the reconnaissance mission with geospatial emissions and detects the radio transmissions. Sandra detects the whizzing speed and energy of the gunfire, the aircraft overhead, and the booms and sulfur smells of the explosions. Chris detects sonar underwater, and Bastian detects a loud, roaring boom, like a collapsing building. Elements of a lone man, possibly Duane. Christine sees a lone man walking. Evan sees a man frozen in statue form. Sandra picks up on a man with energy emitting around him. Sam sees a man, and Jackson detects a man in a blue outfit running in the street. Multiple viewers detect the death element. Christine sees a mortally wounded man. Sandra detects a man in a hospital bed and a man laying prone that appears to be on a stretcher. Bastian sees two things that belong together but are not together. He says, one is maybe dead. He also sees a man in a cave-like setting with a problem. He is unsure if he is alive. He also detects a tomb. Mary says, a sense of remembrance or memorial for an event or a group of people. There was an overwhelming amount of energy data collected in the sessions that I will break down in multiple slides. The first is the depictions of an energy release. Chris picks up on several energy release events. He sees something expanding, twisting, birthing, coming out, perhaps in the ocean. He says, high energy, and has multiple graphics of energy blossoming out from a central point. He sees an uplifting force of something very big. Evan sees a billowing and expanding energy and later states, unnatural energy amplified. Sandra has energy emanating off of a rounded shape. Bastian sees a ball of light and has an energy release that starts at a point and billows out. Sam has a similar shape as Bastian and also draws an expanding energy pattern. Leah sees something like a steam release and has an energetic event like an explosion. She says later in her session it is surreal, more like energy. Yavi records an opening up feature that moves in a wavy fashion, radiating out 360 degrees. The next gestalt is directed energy. Christine sees a tower-like structure emanating a beam of energy. Leah has a similar image. Dean detects an emitter of energy, radiation emitting, light, and electromagnetic properties. Chris sees a tower-like structure with energy on one side and detects high energy. John Kelly detects multiple sources of transmission of data or energy, with towers, radios, and electronics, multiple waveform patterns, and detects vibration, directional, energetic, and focused. More energy events are seen by Yavi, with waves of energy moving against each other. He also sees an antenna-like structure that is connected to ground. Jeremy detects radiating energy and an energy release that is blue in color. He also picks up on a humming triangle shape, along with buzzing, hot, electric, and swirling energy features. Aaron draws a radiating energy event and describes a situation of low gravity and zero gravity. Last, we have vibrational type energy. Bastian detects someone's body is vibrating because of emotions and has the color magenta. Dean has an energetic object on display that he colors as magenta and states there is an outpouring of emotion towards this. He also describes that there is something that feels unnatural about this. He goes on to report about the vibration, esoteric nature, and high-pitched and high-frequency sounds associated with the object. Jody detects static energy in her session, and John Kelly detects a vibrational energy. Aaron draws a similar structure to Dean as well. Yavi sees radiating waves of wavy, emitting energy and vibratory movement. There were many interesting sounds collected for this target. Mary hears a voice, a gathering, hymns being sung, and prayers. Chris hears a high-pitched, continuous beep. Sam hears voices, bright, sharp sounds, and ringing. Christine hears bells ringing. Bastian detects long sound with rising tone, like crying, singing, or wind. There is a sound like singing. Evan detects a harp and describes it as angelic. Jeremy hears clapping, humming, and a whistle sound. Aaron also hears a humming, a high-pitched sound, and the sound of a crowd cheering. Now we get into the real interesting part. This section I am going to call Crossing Over Information. Evan detects a ladder-like structure curving up a tube toward a lighted endpoint. Jody gets an amazing artifact, the Book of Life, something that is very common in tales of the afterlife, where people recount seeing a book that records their entire life. She also has sun imagery, or a bright light. Yavi sees a long, semicircular, tunnel-like structure that feels hollow inside. Jeremy detects two people on a pathway, something that we will see more of soon. Bastian tells a story of a man dying, a release of energy, and being in the company of a crowd of people. He says maybe he doesn't know he is dead. Somebody's body is vibrating. There is a sound like singing. He also draws a picture of twisted golden strands. Mary tells an amazing story of a sense of remembrance or memorial for an event or a group of people. She sees a tunnel-like structure with a light at the end, a window or opening high up where people gather. She has crosses or religious imagery in multiple areas. She describes a theater-like setting. Something memorable happened, something out of the ordinary, sudden and surprising. Hymns being sung and prayers. She sees a scene where men in formation marching on a conveyor belt into the light. Poppies surround them. She says it's a metaphor for remembrance, wars, futility. She says the conveyor belt never ends. Sadness. Leah describes a scene of tunnels that wind underground. She says she is not supposed to be seeing this. Another dimension. Looks like a canal or gutter filled with tiny red ants going into a mysterious tunnel in the hillside. It's clandestine and secret. There are gates and an entrance. Brightly lit, surreal, more like energy. And she detects a woven structure like knitted or detailed patterns. Sandra tells a very similar story of someone crossing over. She sees someone lying in a hospital bed. She detects many people around them in a circle. A blue light shines down on them. She sees what she describes as an entity with the face of an alien. She detects a central person with the lights on them, dressed dark clothes just trying to stay or get in the shadows. There are other people around, not hearing anyone talking. It almost feels like a tense atmosphere. She draws multiple images of a central figure being taken to and surrounded by a large group of people. Again, something that is a common story to hear from people who have had near-death experiences. I was amazed with how much information came back with this target, and I thank everyone who took the time to produce a session.